I was gonna, and this is where athletes go wrong. They think, when you make it, like, all right, now it's time to go spend my money.
I'm buying mama a house.
I'm taking care of my family. I've made it, but it's not like that. Like, if you think it's hard to make it to the top level as a professional athlete, times it by 100. That's how hard it is to stay, because there is a guy that's right behind you who's ready to take your position. Like, you take one night off, you're going back down to AAA. And I played that game most of my career. For parts of 4 years, I went back and forth from the major leagues to the minor leagues.
Really?
Grinding.
So 3 days you were signed. By who?
Milwaukee. I got called up.
Okay.
And then I got sent back down. And I played that for 4 years, where I would get called up and get sent down, back and forth, like, hey, you're not good enough yet, or we don't have room for you. I mean, for a number of reasons. You would think it would be one reason, you weren't good enough, but, just like anything, baseball's political. But anyways, yeah, just I wouldn't trade it for the world, just from what I've learned through each one of those times I got sent down.
Yeah.
But yeah, tough. People think like what they see on TV,
like, oh, he
it's
just
glamorous.
got it, right?
He's got it. He's got the bag. Like my man, but the reality is it's 2%. It's a very small percent who get 10 years in the big leagues, let alone get to ride off into the sunset with millions of dollars. And, they don't have to worry about, like, that's such a small percentage, but everyone has a perception that that's what's going on. And don't get me wrong, athletes do a good job pleading their case with what they drive around, like what they've got around their necks. So they're not pleading their case, right? Like, they got money in the moment.
That's so funny.
But it does, yeah. So for me, I'm constantly educating myself about things, and because I have to.
I think it was the other day I saw Shannon Sharp said that when he was playing for the Denver Broncos, he was making $350,000 a year, and he bought a $250,000 Ferrari.
Wild. Like, that's what's going on. And I'm witnessing it in person. And I'm just like, man. And obviously, as a teammate, you're not going to say anything. Like, that's a grown man. Like, I respect his whatever he's got going on. Personally, I wouldn't do it. But you see it, and you're just like, man, I know what direction you're headed in.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
It's hard, too. I mean, you think a lot of these guys are so young. They're really good at whatever the sport is, right? But then you have to learn how to navigate all of these people, like agents, financial advisors, and I'm sure not all of them are the greatest. I'm sure it's kind of like it gets dicey with people that are don't have their morals in check.
And if you don't have the right people in your corner, or you don't have the right foundation, you're going to be, you're only as good as the environment you put yourself in. Like, you're going to make decisions on what your friends, your homies, like your family is telling you, because you don't take the time to surround yourself or educate and network yourself with people who are getting there, like they're successful, they're doing the right thing.
Right.
So you can't necessarily blame the athlete, but at the same time, you have to, as an athlete, you have to set your ego aside and be like, you know what? Maybe this isn't right. Like I don't know. What do you got on that?
I feel like it's hard to tell a 21-year-old, that he's a dumbass piece of shit because he's, for whatever decision that he makes. I think it does something to your brain that's not good when you are so young, like in your 20s or even 18, 19, 20, and you get millions of dollars. Like, I don't think you're supposed to have that kind of money.
Yeah.
Just because your brain's not even close to being fully developed at that point. You're so immature, impulsive, or whatever, and when you have that money, it just gives you this crazy amount of confidence and ego. And they say money is like a magnifying glass; it just makes you more of what you are. But if you're not a well-rounded, educated, you don't know, you haven't experienced anything.
Yeah.
You've experienced just getting to where you are right now to be a rookie in the NFL or the MLB or whatever it is. And I feel like a lot of the sports fans, they don't think about it from that perspective. They'll be like, oh, this fucking kneeling for the flag, or he did this and got a DUI or whatever. But it's like, he's a 21-year-old kid that just got handed millions of dollars.
Yeah, and people are real quick to form their opinion and make assumptions. Yeah, and that's just the reality of it. But if you take a step back and you dissect it from a logical standpoint, like you can kind of have some sympathy. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to, agree with it, like, but just to have a different opinion or different view. And I think if we start valuing people more on how they treat others, or how you've heard that they treat people, do they take the time to do this or that? Like, that's the people we should be valuing, as opposed to how much money someone's making, how, like, what do they drive? Like, what's their profession? And then when those are the people that are doing stuff wrong, then people are just like quick to tear them off the pedestal, right?
Right.
Because they valued them so high in the first place.
Yeah. It's like the fame and the money, it automatically, they should be the Dalai Lama. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you expect of them. You can't make one wrong move.
Exactly.
Just because, okay, I was really good at baseball, I made millions of dollars, and I'm young. Now you expect me to be the Dalai Lama. I have to know everything.
And I'm sorry, but like, athletes who, are so strong, like, in their opinion, I'm like, man, just because you made all this money, it doesn't give you the right to think that you're the most educated person. Like, your opinion matters most.
Right.
Like, and people value it as so. And I'm like, stop, guys. Just because, like, I know this man personally, he's not a good person. And you guys value him so high because he has so much money and he puts out really cool content, and
people worship people, man. It's crazy. It's crazy if you really talk to somebody like a hardcore fan of a Pittsburgh team, or one of those teams with the crazy hardcore sports fans. They idolize those people, man.
And that's what I recognize. So I have to, and this is obviously who I am to my core, but I have to show love and respect on a daily basis. I have to go out of my way for the fans, because I am an advocate for telling people, hey, value people on how they go about their business, not what they have. So, like, I would be a hypocrite if I didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Right, for sure, 100%. What do you think about Antonio Brown?
I'm sorry, man. He needs to check himself,
dude.
He needs to check himself, and this is another case of the game defines who he is as a human, meaning his worth is in playing football, and football is all he has. And, with the decisions he's made and how he goes about his business, it's going to come with some serious just backlash in any type of way, mentally, emotionally, because this is what he's put his identity in.
Yeah.
And man, I feel I don't want to say I feel bad for him, but yeah, I can't respect him for how he's gone about his business, and I hope he checks himself and surrounds himself with good people.
Yeah.